When you're traveling abroad, the first thing you need is money, and even more important is being able to access that money of yours. So I came up with, the perfect plan for me, the plan that works for me, and I think this plan works for the majority of the people that I met while traveling from all over the world, from Europe or Australia or Africa, South America. They all seem to use this plan. Maybe they'll change it a little bit or whatnot, but this is the main plan. One, you want to have a credit card that has no international fees. That's one. Two, you want to have a debit card that doesn't charge any international fees or waives your international fees. Then three, you want to have some cash as backup. And Yeah, cash is just backup. And I'll go into that. I'll go into more details why I think cash should not be your main source of income. So, one, you want to have a credit card that doesn't charge you any international fees. Two, a debit card that waives the international fee and some cash. So, I'll go in more detail about that. First things first, with me, I love credit card. I love the concept of a credit card. The concept where you use a credit card and you're making money or some type of benefit, whether it be points or whatever it is, from using that credit card. Now, if I'm going to use cash, right, to buy something that's $10, I'm just going to pay that money, and I'm not gonna benefit in any way. Whereas with a credit card, if I use 10, like let's say it's 1% right back or 2% back, right? Let's say it's 2% back. I pay the $10. I get like what, 20 cents? Yeah, 20 cents, something like that. I don't know. Do the math. Yeah, I get something back, and over time that adds up. At the end of the year, when I look at all my finances, I realize that I made some good money out of my credit card. Whereas if I just use cash, I wouldn't be getting anything back on that. So the next thing is a debit card, and very important for traveling's sake. You again, I'll say it again. For credit card, you want one that has no international fee. That's the whole point, guys. So you want that. The second thing about a credit card is that usually the conversion fee. Let's say I buy something in Spain, right? I swipe my card. Currency conversion rate is usually on point. Like it's the highest you can get usually, and it's the same one that you can find on Google or anywhere you look. So I think that's important. It helps you save money. Now, next with debit cards. Debit card was my main source of money on my first trip, and I didn't really do any research before going on my first trip. It was just kind of like get a plane ticket and go, one way ticket, and just keep on going, which I love. But you want to kind of have some type of plan in terms of money. So with my debit card, I had a different bank at the time that charges you a lot of international. Excuse me. At the time, I had a bank that charges you a lot of international fees. And I just wish I had known there are other banks that don't charge you all these freaking international fees, man. I even remember like my debit card getting stuck in one of the ATM machines in Thailand. Oh man, that was hell. And I mean, the customer service for this bank was terrible too, just waiting on the line the whole time. So I found a bank that does not charge you any international fees. It actually reimburses your international fees when you use an ATM internationally. So every time I can get money out of any ATM in the world, and I would get usually a good conversion fee, good conversion currency conversion rate, and whatever fee that bank charges, I get reimbursed. So always, and it doesn't matter how big that fee is. And that bank is Charles Schwab. So if you're American, you want to get a Charles Schwab bank account. You can have two. You can have your main bank account or whatever, but you also want to get a Charles Schwab while you're traveling because I mean that's extremely helpful, guys. You don't want you look. You don't want to go through what I went through with my other bank. You really don't. With all the fees and just sometimes just you can't even reach customer service with Charles Schwab. I'm able to call them at any time. I mean 24/7, 365. You name it. Could be Christmas Eve and you can still be able to talk to somebody. The third thing is cash. Now with cash I see that as an emergency fund. I don't really see it as a this is what I'm going to be using as my main source of money. No, I do not. Absolutely not. One, cash is can easily be lost, or it can be stolen from you or whatnot. So it's a liability. And this second thing too is that you usually, depending on the country, you can really lose out when you're exchanging cash currency for other currency, because a lot of times they give you a currency rate that is lower than the market value, much lower. A lot of times, sometimes it's close, but it depends. Sometimes there are fees tacked on, and sometimes you got to keep on looking really hard, depending on the country, just to find an exchange bureau or a bank that does exchanges. So I usually keep it as an emergency fund. Like let's say your credit card is lost, or your debit card is lost, or something like that. Or you can't use both, but there's a cash currency exchange bureau. Then you use the currency exchange bureau, or you're at the airport and for some reason that airport doesn't have an ATM. That's happened to me before, and it doesn't take any credit cards, and you're hungry. Well, guess what? At every airport, there's going to be a cash currency exchange bureau. So you wanna carry some cash, but you don't want to carry too much. So I would say, for a budget traveler, if you're a budget traveler, you don't want to take any more than 300, somewhere between 200 and 300. If you're rich like that, you can maybe take like 500 with you or something like that, but no more than that. You don't want to carry that liability. Now let's say all of these three options that I mentioned, the credit card, debit card, and cash, are somehow you lost them, or somehow you can't access them or something, right? Let's say these options are off the line. Well, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to sleep on the street. No, just kidding. What you're going to do is you're going to usually try to get somebody from back home to send you money through MoneyGram or Western Union. I remember when I was in India, I got to India, I lost my debit card. My credit card, the one that I had at the time, would have charged me a lot of money to withdraw from an ATM, because I think it would be called in cash advance. And in India, there aren't that many restaurants that accept credit cards and whatnot. And my cash was really low, so I had to, get in touch with the family back home and have them send me some money through MoneyGram. And, I just transfer the funds to their account via bank to bank transfer. So that worked out very, very well. So you want to kind of have all these options because, man, when you're traveling, the last thing, you don't want to be, back to the wall in terms of finances or money or options to access and your money. You really don't want, have your back to the wall, because I've had that happen. And oh man, the stress it puts on you is just too much, man. It really is too much. You don't want that. So I'll be making more videos on different questions. Like some of my friends have a lot of questions on this whole solo traveling thing that I've been doing the past maybe 3 years on and off. I'll be talking more about that, and I will also maybe be sharing some of my interesting and some of my not so interesting stories.